Good morning and welcome. It is the Coach's Show with Anson Yarborough. I'm Dennis Davis along with Jamie Ulrey. And of course, the star of the show, Coach Yarborough. Welcome.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Man, we're doing great. Coming off of that big win last Friday, I wanted to at least start by talking about the Cape Fear Heroes. What was that big win like for you guys?
It was huge. It was my first win ever as a head coach, so it was the first one, so it was very, very huge.
And to do a buzzer beater for your first win?
Yeah.
I mean, could you throw a little more excitement on? I mean, you already know I'm loud. Like, you've been around me, but wow.
I know.
It was huge. I mean, Coach McKinney from Cape Fear did a really good job in game planning, and he brought his A game, and but, unfortunately somebody had to lose, and it was him.
I mean, it was really like a cardiac moment as a fan, just sitting there watching, because I was like, man, those heroes, they got this game. Yeah. And then the Havoc just would not go away.
That was the best part for me. It was going down to 0.7, as our play-by-play announcer was giving us last weekend, was 0.7 on the clock, and we just hammered down.
Right.
And, I'm also going through the Facebook Live, which had 150 views, and I'm reading all those comments, and had a lot of fear comments on there, I'll say. And I restrained myself and just kept going, go Havoc, go Havoc, But it was fantastic. I'm super proud of you guys.
All right, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it.
So it was such a close game. I mean, Cape Fear started strong, but the Havoc came back. The Cape Fear wouldn't go away. I was wondering, what was that chatter like in the locker room, particularly at halftime? What was the mood?
Well, at halftime, we were up. I think it was 26-20 at halftime. We were up. So, it was basically keep the momentum going. Guys, step up your game. I mean, just don't quit. Don't take your foot off the neck, and just keep playing.
My style. I say that all the time.
That's like a sales meeting in here.
It's an average sales meeting for me, because it is always about, you gain momentum, whether it's as you coach, as you practice, as you're in the gameplay. It's all about forward movement, right? And so definitely got to see that on the field.
Yes, ma'am.
It's definitely if football is a game of inches, you guys managed to make it a game of millimeters, because one thing I noticed is kicking is, I would say, in arena football is probably more important than what you see at like the high school, the college, or NFL levels. I mean, you guys managed to make it like a cliffhanger to watch because of the Uno that you can get. I mean, can you explain the Uno for us?
Well, the Uno, it happens during kickoff when we're kicking the ball off to the opposing team. If our kicker manages to get it between the uprights, we get a point for it.
Nice.
So, and it's apparent that our kicking, Kevin Weber, is really good. I think he got two during the course of the game, so that's pretty good.
Well, we saw with that game that every single point counts.
Absolutely.
You cannot just do the 7. Like, you are going to have to go hard. And the other thing with your league is you have to go for 2.
Well, we don't have to go for 2.
Okay.
But we had a field goal blocked, so that's why we decided to go.
That's why you went for that.
Right.
Okay.
So what are practices like? I mean, after coming off of that win with the Heroes, I was wondering now, what's the vibe like in practice?
Well, I mean, we won, but we can't be complacent. We only won by 1 point, and in my opinion, I think we should have won by much more.
Right.
So there's still some things that we have to get better at. There's a lot of, housekeeping that we have to do. So we can't go in complacent. We have to get after it, just like we did before we played week 1.
Now, with your roster, you had changed out the quarterback right at the end. So what are you looking at for tonight's game?
Well, we didn't necessarily change out at quarterback. Darryl Clark got hurt, so I had to put a wide receiver, Rashard Carter, in that quarterback because he was the next most experienced quarterback that we had on the dress list. So we played him as a quarterback.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the results of the original quarterback's injury?
Oh, he's fine. He's ready to go.
Okay.
He's ready to go. Yes, ma'am.
So he just had a moment.
Yes, ma'am. It was just a little moment.
Kidding. I'm teasing. I'm just teasing. I will never ever call an Arena League football player weak.
No.
No, I'm not trying to fight them. I'm just
Right.
kidding. So
And Derek Clark's probably one of the tougher guys that we have on the team. He threw for 4 touchdowns and ran for 4. So
right.
had
Like
a
he
great
put
night.
it all out there.
Right, he had
So
a great
for
night.
him, to go as long as he did, I think it's great. And then it goes back to what we talked about in our last show about how deep your roster is, and the ability that you're cross training and making sure that everybody's strong enough to jump in and get the job done.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
So, how many players do you have dressed on the Havoc?
On a game night, we have 21 dressed.
So, of that 21, like, do you have guys that are playing both sides of the ball?
Yes, sir, we do. We do. Like Alexander Coleman play both sides of the ball. Dominique Bridges play both sides of the ball. Rashard Carter, as we mentioned, play both sides of the ball. Tyson Fernandez. Almost every one of our football players are capable of playing another position on the opposite side of the ball.
Fantastic.
Is it now with as many players being so active and playing both sides of the ball? Like, what are some of the challenges? I mean, is staying fresh a concern?
That's what we train for. You're a professional athlete, so you have to be ready and you have to be trained to go.
I love it. Well, I noticed too that the enthusiasm with your players, even at post game, it was such I don't even know what the word is. The enthusiasm level was through the roof. And you could just tell that they had put everything on the field. And once that finally hit, they were just ready to explode. So, and the fans too.
That's what I was going to build up to. Is you could tell that the fans were really getting into it, and then to win that game in such a dramatic fashion.
Right.
I guess I wanted to ask, based on that, what's morale like now, and what's the single most exciting thing for the players?
I mean, I think guys were just so happy to get a chance to beat up on somebody else instead of their teammates for once that they were just, they were overly excited. And, I mean, just to talk about the fans, I mean, it was great. We had about 1,500 in the house.
Right.
So hopefully we get an opportunity to double that this weekend. And, I mean, for 1,500 people in a small area in the PD, that's huge. I mean, so I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed them. And hopefully they'll come back out and, share, the experience this weekend with us.
Well, it's definitely catching on. I mean, if you look at social media, for instance,
Yes.
Carolina Havoc, you guys are living in the, 4,600 followers world. And you look at some of the other teams in the league. Like, for instance, I was checking out the Peach State Cats Facebook page. They have, maybe 800 followers.
Right.
You guys have 4,600 followers. I mean, just on the social media game, I'd be intimidated if I was them.
Right.
Why not seen their website? They should be.
Steve Smith does a really good job of marketing us. He does a really, really good job, and just applause to Steve. He does a great job.
He does. I mean, he is always interactive on Facebook. He's doing Facebook Lives, and he's keeping the fans up to date on what's happening.
Very
And
much so.
it gives us that personal thing, kind of like what you do on a daily basis on your radio
is.
show. It's having that one-on-one. It's getting in the living rooms of people and spending that time. So I do love how much the Havoc has embedded themselves in the community. On a note of the fans walking in versus walking out, most of them were buying shirts.
Right.
So there's a level of pride there. If you're investing in a team shirt, you're in.
Right. You're all the way in. You're all the way
Yeah,
in.
because, we hold on to our money in the PD. So
Right.
we got to, like you, to
Right.
put some green on it. We definitely
Right.
did that this weekend,
Right.
so I was excited. And then I also heard that you guys have what was the quote? Sexiest football? The best looking football?
Absolutely. We have the best football in arena football.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the most unique. I think it's the most unique, and I think it's the best looking.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I do expect him to have everybody sign it and bring it to us for the next show, though.
We got you.
I think that's
That's
like
what's up.
the entry prize.
Okay.
As opposed to hoping that you catch a football during a game and then having to either save it for the end of the game or maybe exchange it for a shirt at the merchandise table.
Right.
Which I think that's cool. The fact that when you catch the football, if you're a fan, you get the football, you can either keep it or you can swap it for a shirt at the merchandise table. Not everyone knows that.
Right. One of the other things that you guys got a bunch of great press besides us. The TV stations really came out. Fox, fantastic. It was great. The one other thing that we talked about was the company you guys are working with to do your merch is a local company. And it all goes back to what the Havoc is trying to do with keeping everything local, from
And
the
the PD.
fans to everything. And it's just one more way that we can celebrate our community and focus on raising all of us up.
Right,
So
right.
I loved seeing that part of it.
Right, and as a matter of fact, I have a hoodie on from Mr. Kell right now from Out of This World Printing.
See, there you
So
go.
he does a really good job. Yeah. I love him.
Nice shout out. Good job.
Yeah.
I like the
Thank you,
logo.
Mr. Kell.
I gotta tell you, I think the logo it presents well on shirts and other merchandise. So I thought it was
And
neat.
social media too.
And social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our play-by-play guy helped with the everything this weekend and watching Facebook Live, and then it ended with the logo. So all of that was
Okay.
done, and it was just a nice, smooth transition. And I was just like, that's how we roll. It was really
Right.
cool. So
So after the game, the players stopped down and signed autographs. Hundreds of fans met the players on the fields. I mean, you guys had a cool promotion where you had like thousands of posters printed up with the game schedules.
Yes, sir.
Fans grabbed these schedules, ran to the field, and met the players and got autographs. I want, as a coach, tell us how that felt to see that kind of reception from the fans.
yeah.
I mean, it's all love. I mean, that's what you expect. That's what you want from your community. You want that kind of embrace because if the community isn't there, you don't have an organization
Right.
because you have to have that backing to even function. So that we got that kind of warm embrace early in the game, week one, it's only going to get better throughout the season because we expect to continue to win. And nobody wants to see a loser.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we hope to get more and more fans throughout the course of the season.
I got to go back to that rushing the field thing. That was the best part.
Oh,
Right.
Between the players that weren't on the field, that got on the field, then the fans and the family, and it was like a holy good
Right.
reunion. It was fantastic, and I don't think the opposing team knew what to do at that point.
Right.
Except get out of there. They were
Right,
like, let me
'cause that's
exit
all you
stage
could do.
left. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, after the buzzer sounded, you could just tell that the Cape Fear Heroes, they were like, just start the bus. Just start the bus.
Cue the bus.
yeah.
So tonight, we are going to be playing your favorite team that you love to say 3 times
Yes.
fast.
Yeah, Peach State Cats. Yeah.
So, Coach, tell us what you have in store for tonight's game.
Well, obviously our offensive weapons and, Alexander Coleman, Daryl Clark, hopefully they show up and play their best football again.
There you go.
And Coach Boo Mitchell, I know he was on our staff last year, great football mind, great football player within himself in his, time playing, and I know he's going to give us everything that we can handle. So we just have to go out, we have to handle business.
Now, isn't the other coach on that team Marino? How do you say that? Marino Filia? Is he still one of the coaches?
Filia.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And he would actually play in the NFL as well.
Right. For the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
So he's a very knowledgeable guy within himself. And so once again, their staff is just as talented as ours. So we have to have our A game. We have to be on our
Well,
A
I
game.
think, too, we've got the pride, PD, passion.
Right.
We got the 3 Ps.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
That y'all gonna bust out on
Absolutely.
a Saturday night. And it's
Absolutely.
NASCAR night.
Yeah, it
Right.
is.
So what does that mean, NASCAR night? Obviously, wear your NASCAR merchandise.
Right.
When you got your NASCAR swag, your shirts, your hats. Show up with that. And if you're not showing up in NASCAR merchandise, you better be wearing your Havoc merchandise.
Yes,
when you
one
show
or the
up.
other has to be there. Well, I know that the GM Steve is working feverishly with our own Danny Lackamy, y'all know him, on some really great games themed around NASCAR. So I'm not
Okay.
going to spoil it. You got to be there. Let's just say it's really racingly cool. Is that a
Gotcha.
word?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll let it slide.
I make it up as I go along. Remember, sales department.
Yeah.
He's a super fan, so that's
Right.
what we get.
So with that, the last game where you played the Heroes, it was really a close game, and when you can win those close games, those are the most meaningful ones.
Right.
After that win, what have you learned about your team?
Good question.
Resiliency, fighters, very determined, hardworking guys. Like I said, blue collar, lunch pail guys, ready to work, not running from anything. So,
That's the best part. Not overpaid wine baby, whiny baby.
right.
That's something that when I was on the sideline, I was nearest the Havoc players, and the feeling that I got was whenever the Heroes scored anything, it was not yelling at each other. The vibe was more like, we're going to get this back. We're going to get this touchdown back.
Yeah.
And that was the part that was that spoke volumes to me. Was like they weren't playing no blame game.
Right.
Let's go get it back.
Right, that's what made me proudest as a coach. When they got the fumble and they ran it back for a touchdown, and I looked towards the sideline, and I just saw guys like, it's okay, it's cool. That's what made me proudest because nobody panicked.
Right.
We just knew, everybody on that sideline knew we would win. So
That's
when
a
I knew
huge
we'd
thing.
be
A lot of
okay.
people feel defeat, and then automatically everything's turned.
Right.
Because you let that negative energy come in, but they never let that in.
Right. Nobody on our
That
sideline
wasn't
felt
coming
defeated.
in the house. They were like,
ma'am.
and I think that goes to your leadership style too,
Right.
because the calm heads prevail,
Right.
and you guys just kept, kept
Because
your focus.
if you guys look at the film while they were running the touchdown back, I was walking off the field like shrugging my shoulders, like, okay, it happens. Because there was no need to panic. We still had 17 seconds. I think we had 24 seconds before
Right.
the kickoff, so I knew we would be okay.
Yeah, you were probably the calmest one. I think a lot of us watching were like not so calm, but it was great though because you did exactly what you needed to do as a coach, was just to let's bring everything down and let's go back at it. So
Yes, ma'am.
definitely admire your skills during that time. 'Cause
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That was a test. It was a
Yeah.
test for me. I probably used some 4-letter words.
Yeah, but yeah, that was certainly a scary moment. Those last 24 seconds, Cape Fear had the feeling that game was won, and then the last 0.7 seconds on the clock, last play. I was wondering, what was the last message that you gave to your players before those set of downs?
And don't be the guy to look in the mirror and know that you didn't give it everything you had. Don't be that guy.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think we could all do that on the daily, though. Not just on the field. Every night
Right.
when you finish up, did you give it everything you had?
Right.
Or did you skate today? I think that's good.
Right,
That's a
and
great
as
message.
we have a defensive coordinator, my assistant head coach, Coach Charles Gunness, every day he preaches, everybody have your why. Everybody has a reason why they're here, so you got to remember your why.
I like that. I think we could probably. Can you come do a sales meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay. Probably scare a few people, but let's do it anyway.
And then if you don't close the deal,
Yeah.
you get tackled.
Oh, well, there you are. So no, we have a great team at iHeart, and our team. I joke with them all the time. They do a great job because they know that they're a lot like a team. We have to. I always say our motto is we are small, but we are mighty when we are
Right.
together, because we can move mountains as a team, and it's the same way football, sales, whatever you're in. So, I did have a couple questions.
Sure.
Trick questions.
Okay.
Ish. Yeah, I know
Let's hear it.
you hate when I do this to you. I won't do it anyway. So I want to know, with all the changes with the helmet laws with NFL, how does that affect your league?
Well, not too much. The rules are similar, but not too common. Like the helmet thing, I think is not as common. They don't call it as commonly as it would on Sundays, is because our game is a whole lot faster and it's a lot in a smaller area. So they don't do the helmet as much, but it is concerning as a parent, though.
Right. Well, that's the next question. Like you have children. So as a coach of an aggressive, fast-paced football game, and then also as a parent going through that, I know that a lot of people are coming out talking about now is like, yeah, they played the game, but they're not going to put their kids in there. And so where do you stand on that?
Well, if my kids want to play, they can play, but, as a coach and as a father, it's my responsibility to teach them the right and the proper way to play the game.
Right.
And the way helmets are changing, helmets are evolving. They're crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody that has the history of, you go from the leather
Helmet
to this, I'm like,
right, to the Shet F7. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah, it's bubble wrapped on the inside now, right?
It seems like it.
No.
It costs a lot.
There were a couple plays against the Heroes where I saw there was a player that got appeared to be a helmet-to-helmet hit, and he got hit so hard that the helmet popped off.
Right.
And then I saw a Heroes player, same situation, where his helmet popped off due to the impact of the hit. What are the rules in arena football? Does he have to sit out after that hit? How does that work?
Well, the only time, yes, he has to, because his helmet came off. So you have to sit out a play.
Okay.
And you have to go through concussion protocol, things like that. So that's where the game is very much similar.
For those that have never really played the game and don't really understand concussion protocol, like what is protocol for that?
The check, if for an example, like the bright light here, if you have a concussion, you're very sensitive to bright light, vomiting, headaches, nausea, stuff like that. So you go through those, they check for symptoms. And if you have 3 of like 6 symptoms, you have to sit out.
You're out, yeah.
Right.
And you guys have somebody on the sidelines that's always taking care of that.
We have a first responder.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fantastic, too. And I think it's good for Rowdy fans. You should always have.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway.
So what was the post-game message like? I mean, I'm sure that after that game, you got all the players together. Mm-hmm. What was the post-game message to the Havoc players?
Good win, but we still have a lot of work to do. And we do. I mean, because like I stated last time I was here, our goal isn't just to win a game, 2 games, 3 games. Our goal is to win the championship. We were defending AAL champions, and so for us, it's championship or bust. Not just get there, but to win it.
I think we can do it this year. I am that girl.
Well, it's like this. You guys have done it before. Clearly, you can do it again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like you've got a winning attitude. The players have winning attitudes.
Right.
You have winning actions, ergo victory on game 1. You have all the key ingredients to succeed. What do you say about that?
I agree. No disrespect to last year's team's roster, but I believe we have a little bit of a better roster this year. I think we're a little bit more athletic, a little bit younger in a sense. So I think we have all the tools to win it. Like I said, guys just have to be hungry. They cannot be complacent and have to come to work every day ready to work.
Well, I think if you go back to what we talked about last week with the way that you groom them in practice, that if you're not given over 100%, you will be replaced.
Absolutely.
Same day on game day. So
Absolutely.
you've got to come hard and consistently.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's a big thing. Now, talking about schedules, how does last year's schedule compare to your games this year?
I think last year's schedule was a little bit tougher. I think last year's schedule was a little bit tougher, but, you can't overlook anyone. Because everybody practices the same amount of time as you. Everybody put their pads on the same way. So you have to prepare for everyone the same exact way.
Okay, so what do we want from Florence when we win again this year? Do we want a parade downtown? What do we need to ask the mayor for?
A parade, key to the city, everything.
All right, so you got that relationship. So
Mayor Wukila is a great guy. I'm sure that we could probably corner him and pressure him into some of those
I like
things.
That. Good. Something to work for.
All right, I'm with it.
So tell us about Saturday night. I mean, tonight it is the Peach State Cats, and I will say it again because it rolls off the tongue so weird, and I like that awkwardness about it. But what about this team? Who are these players of the Peach State Cats? What are they really good at?
Well, they have a really good quarterback that came from Georgia Southern. I think he's really, really good, really athletic. He's a very similar player to our quarterback, Daryl Clark, so very athletic. So it's hard to box him in and keep him in the pocket. So our pass rush has to be really disciplined. They have a couple good receivers out there as well. So they're on the offensive side of the ball, they're really, really talented.
Okay. So I'm not going to, don't give any secrets away, but I'm sure you have a game plan to counteract all of those strikes.
Right. Well, so we changed up our defense strategy a little bit to kind of contain the quarterback a good bit, and to cover much better this weekend because
and hold on to the ball.
Yeah, and very much so. Sorry. Hold on to the ball. So, on the defense side of the ball, we changed a few things to kind of tweak to fit, this weekend. So.
Well, I just, all of the players you guys have, we enjoyed so much last Friday night, being down there with them and just getting to know them as people and players and watching all that kind of stuff. So it's an experience that I think everybody needs to come out and see.
I agree.
I think you come out to one game, you're hooked. There's just something about it that has that pull. So, and you're promising wins, so why miss it?
Right. You're exactly right. I'm standing on wins.
Standing on wins. I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I guess what's your outlook for the rest of the season? Do you have like any games that are probably going to be more meaningful wins, if you can get those victories, it seems like you are focused, game to game, obviously. But what would you say is going to be, looking at the schedule, the sweetest win on that whole schedule?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't think one win means more than another, but I mean, for me as a first-year head coach, I think every game is a must-win, because, I mean, it kind of sets your legacy in a sense,
There you go. So you're going hard your first year.
Right.
You're like, let me just check every box. I'm going to win the first game. I'm just going to win them all.
Right.
So you're saying I'm going to go undefeated. We're going to win the championship.
I'm not saying that we're going to go undefeated. I don't want to be that guy, but our plan is to go undefeated.
Well, you cannot win if you don't plan to win.
Right.
That's part of the thing. It's
Right.
got to be it's a mental, physical commitment to the win.
Right. And I believe that we have the best roster of talent of any team in this league, and I think that we can win every game.
I love it.
Not only is it a testament of physical toughness, and I mean, you guys played tough on the field. You guys look great. How do you keep the players with that mental toughness on the field?
I mean, everybody on my roster knows that winning here isn't the end game. Like we stated from last week, our job is to develop our talent and get it sent up to bigger leagues. Right. So that's what keeps guys motivated to do better and to play better, because they know that playing for the Carolina Havoc is not the end game.
Right.
Playing for the their plan is to play in the AFL, the AAF, bigger leagues where you can get paid more money and do bigger things.
Or even NFL.
NFL, exactly. Right.
So that's amazing.
All right. Well, of course, get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
Right.
You can also go to the Florence Center box office, and
game is tonight. 7:05.
games tonight, 7:05.
Yep. Still seats available.
Peach State Cats.
We're looking for win number 2, right, Coach?
Yes,
Back-to-back
ma'am. Win number
dubs.
2.
And then you go on the road.
And then we go on the road to Macon, Georgia.
Macon, Georgia. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So y'all need to come out tonight, get here to the game so that you can see the last home game before they go on the road for a while.
All right. So again, and you can always, for all things Carolina Havoc, CarolinaHavocFootball.com is the website. Coach Yarborough, thank you so much for carving out the time for us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
This will definitely be the last play of the game. Last-ditch effort. It's do or die now for the Havoc. Buzzer sounds off. Ball is through, and it's caught! Touchdown! And the Havoc win! Beautiful pass to the corner of the end zone.